What's cracking, y'all? It's Nick Danger, aka Nick Digital, and you are now tuned into the art of MV. This is an Up with Nick at Night episode.
Don't ever let him see you coming. You gotta keep yourself small.
Yeah, hit that like on the way up in here, man. And welcome to the channel.
Underestimated today.
Thanks for watching the video. And yeah, like the title say, man. Once again, the SP MV connection. Let's get it cracking. The first thing, before we get into that, I want to give a piece of action to my Phantom X. I love the Phantom sounds, but anyway, he has the new Phantom. And this is the Phantom X that you'll be hearing for the first these little tunes that I'm playing. And the more I listen to his live streams, the more I'm convinced that the Phantom X, the value holds, man. The new Phantom is got some dope sounds, but you're talking about the guy complains about polyphony, note stealing, polyphony problems. It's not the same sequencer, and it's not really a workstation, but it is a dope way to design sounds. But I think based on that, let me play another Phantom song. Based on that, the Phantom X really holds up now, man. It really holds up. I really love this thing. It has dope ass sounds. They never get old, no matter what nobody tells you, because it's a synthesizer, so you can bend it to your will. You can take a song, a sound or patch, and develop it and kind of massage it out to your type, or you could start from scratch. Has a couple of things that they're working with now. So let's take one cool skip-back sampling. And it captures, I forgot how much time is on that one, but I've actually used it. It's really handy. It was the first thing to have that skip-back sampling function, which is now on the SP404 Mark II. And that's what's cool about the 404 is that with the 404, Roland seemed to have listened to what everybody wanted. Now the SP is running into MV territory. What do I mean by that? I mean that how far can you go? Because you get what you ask for, right? Most of the people who are the 404 user base, they want more sequencer MPC beat making functions when the box really wasn't. That's not really what it was at first. People purposed it to do that, but it's really a sample / effects performer. When you keep that footprint, the portability that it has, and that format that everybody liked, because the 555 was a little bit bigger. The SP555 came out in 2008, and we really kind of slept on, to be honest. Wasn't a lot of fanfare around it. It was bigger than the SP404. It was cleaner sounding than SP404 because it was 24-bit, and it also had a better sequencer than the 404 did. But that meant more buttons and more buttons with multiple functions. So as far as performance-wise, it really wasn't as fun as the 404, and it wasn't battery operated either, so it wasn't as portable. The fun factor was kind of gone, even though you can perform on it, but you got to bounce between banks. But other than that, it was pretty much an upgrade, but it just kind of went under the radar, excuse me. So before I wanted to get that out before I played these two videos that I'm reacting to, because it's basically these guys do a real good job of kind of mapping out what's happening now with the full. Cool shit, right?
Yeah, I was definitely thinking about selling. I was gonna sell my SP404 Mark II. I was gonna keep it real with you guys. Like, I really don't use it that much. Everything that I do on the MPC, I know that a lot of people might think that I'm just pro MPC and I didn't like the SP404. That's not true. I love my SP404. I made some pretty dope beats, but one of the things that was damning about making beats on the SP404 is it just seemed like it was incomplete, or you just would never finish it. Of course, you can always hook it up to the computer and finish it in a DAW and stuff like that, but the MPC I can start, finish, and go on about my business. And yeah, and that has really good effects. But I think that the SP404 is far more complete than what it was last year, and definitely on release. Even though I didn't really bitch about the SP404 on release being incomplete, it was just something, I love making beats and stuff like that, and I think we all do. We share that same sentiment. Now it can be used from start to finish, and you can combine it with different integrations, stuff that already existed, made it great. Being able to bounce down different patterns and stuff like that, I found that to be awesome. I think the only caveat with the SP404, if I wanted to complain about one thing, is when they're adding stuff in these updates, I honestly feel like it's overwhelming. Like, you're not going to remember everything unless you use the SP404 every day, but if you're fully committed to the SP404 Mark II every single day, then you won't forget any of the shortcuts or all the stuff that has been added over the different firmwares. But seeing that they have press this, press that, press this, press that, press this, you could easily forget that if you use different pieces of equipment.
The kind of updates the 404 has gotten as compared to what the MV1 Verse Lab has gotten. Now, in my opinion, I think they're keeping up pretty good on all their gear. I think that people are just hard to please. The MV has gotten quite a few updates, a lot of bug fixes, but to me, the biggest update that trumps all the other updates that they got, because it didn't have it at launch, was being able to go, like right now, I'm going to open this song up real quick. I'm going to create a this part right here. I mean, no matter where you at, you have a whole thing. Okay, let me add this. I'm going to add an MV mix track. So now I got an audio track, got the MV coming in. I add an audio track to record this to, and boom, when I hit this, I got that. The audio. Now, so here's the MV 2-track mix coming out, and here's the track I'm going to dump it into, if I want to dump it into. So this is how we're going to run it. You know what I mean? The tempo. Let me see. I can sync that. We got the signal. This is the beauty part of this, and to me, this is the upgrade that this received first compared to the other ones. Now, in that video, I didn't give him a chance to mention the fact that he had the Koala update with the 404 as well. The integration with the Koala app. That's Roland reaching out to another app developer that isn't even Roland related, because they know the community. It's just a sample-based community, so I guess they give them an option to mess around with their iPads and stuff like that, the same way I'm doing here. And here is the kicker right there. When you start adding stuff like that to the MV, it's easy. You got shift and you got edit functions as well. But on the 404, with that small interface, the only thing you're asking for now is a touchscreen, but that is going to get a little convoluted. Check out what this guy says about the same problem.
There are too many key combinations now, and I only have to look at the responses in my videos that I put out about shortcuts on this device to see that a lot of the community feels the same way. So when I talk about the effects automation, I think it was a 3-key combination in order to get in and out of it. I just can't remember what it is, and I've never felt like I want to go and find out what it is again, because it's just right on the edge now of being too many and just being impossible to remember them all. So it's a shame, but that is one of the reasons why I've never really dug into that feature. It's hard enough remembering day-to-day shortcuts without
But what do
adding
you
more and
expect
more
with
on
such a
top.
small box?
And
You
that is
can't
the
place
crux
any
of the
new
problem
buttons on there.
of what I'm getting to with
So
this video.
basically,
The
everybody's
more
asking
updates
for
that ship
a
with this
touchscreen
device,
then.
that come to this device, I think it's going to get harder.
And the dilemma is, it's becoming overpowering for that size unit, right? Only for that size. If it was the size of the 555 and they could add a couple more knobs, because this one has 6 knobs, and the effects are broken up into 2 banks, and they have a lot more pattern-based buttons. So if you had it as, if you can compromise on the size, then you could easily get better functionality, right? Let's see, we here. You get better functionality, but you can't have your cake and eat it too. So that's what brings me to, it's getting like that SP MV connection, man. They're on the brink of being overpowered for what they do. When this 8000 came out, it was over engineered compared to the MPC. It was even over engineered compared to the MPC 4000, and that thing's a monster. Once Roland fleshed out the 8800, it killed the 4000. But the 4000 was the closest thing to this, and this was overpowered, and that was overpowering as well. But this was overpowered. This was over-engineered. It had too much depth. You know what I mean? It was just too much for people. And now the 404 seems like it's going to suffer the same fate of being overpowered for that footprint, for something that small. Like he said, 3-button combos to get certain things done. I don't know. I mean, that's heavy, right? So what do you guys think about that? Do you guys think that those are the updates that should have went to the MV1 Verse Lab, right? Right? I mean, that if you go look at some, I couldn't just sit back and look at the whole video, but the links in the description, if you haven't looked at them at all, check out the videos and see what they put in that sampler. I mean, it doesn't have an oscillator. It's not dual oscillators, but it has a sound generator. So you can take a sound wave and make a 808, or make a sub bass, or make some kind of pad. It has chromatic scales. Now it has the loop capture with a certain amount of bars, like the 404 does, and a looper mode, where this already has a looper mode. And like you said, they put best of effects, much like they do on here. You know what I mean? Not the same kind of effects, but like the new MV1 Verse Lab got like the Juno effects, which is dope. I mean, the whole effects thing that makes the Juno what it is what this thing has now, and it's lovely. So, do you think that the sampler that the SP, the sample treatment that the SP is getting, do you think that they should show some of that love to the MV now? Because I think that we got an update coming. It gotta be, but I don't know if they're going to do the same thing, because that's not a primary sampler. But this is kind of already designed to handle upgrades like that. There's a lot of buttons on here already. I mean, the shift function alone shows you everything that you can use with the shift, because everything has the shift signal on it, has the encased word. If you hit edit, then everything is blinking. You know, it has an edit function, so it is way more set up to get some of these more elaborate updates like the SP. But the SP constantly gets them right now, and now they're going to complain about it being a bit overpowering. As you heard, those are 2 guys who use a lot of equipment, or love beat making. They both were kind of like, I'm getting kind of overpowered because of the commands. man, with the quickness, you can have stuff in here, out of here and into a DAW situation already. So, moving on to the complexity that you add to an SP when you add all these functional things that you have added recently and the way those guys feel about it. It's kind of like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. No matter how easy and legacy-like you make the MPCs, if you don't make it where it can compete with software and all the FL Studio sounds and all these different processes that are in plugins, they're not satisfied and so forth. But I'm gonna tell you one thing, man. Everything that comes out, if you use it for those specific purposes and repurpose things to do what you want them to do, then you won't even have that problem. Do some research on any gear that you buy. You can buy it and know what you're getting into, man. I think a lot of people don't really research that. So when I researched the MV1 Verse Lab, I kind of knew it was what I wanted just based off what the developer said their aim was. It's not a smaller version of this, but you can make it into a small version of this if you want to, as I'll be showing. So this is something I'm going to kind of work on this week's live, is the SP and the MV connection I keep talking about.